Now, do you find there a certain group of people may not take you seriously, or just as a whole, people, when you initially started, were people not taking you seriously? Were they taking you seriously? How did it go over?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Yeah. Right. So back to my dad, he was the one that got me to start doing the videos, but he was also the one, you could not put cameras on his car.
Oh.
Very superstitious. Like people would put cameras on his car, like TV crew would come in, he'd wreck, he'd flip, something, he'd blow up. I don't know, all the negative stuff. So when I started doing it, I'm like, okay, how are we gonna make this work? And I was raised in it, you don't bother the drivers. So I'm like sneaking around corners, videotaping, looking kind of like a stalker, and it was super uncomfortable. I mean, still I don't even know how long it's been, 5 years into this, and it's still awkward. But I mean, you're going to get the negativity, and you're going to get people that are like, what the heck is she doing? For a while, I mean, I had people that would be like, which was my thoughts in the beginning, was like, who cares of what I do? And so many people are like, you're just doing it to show off. You're just doing it to, be a pretty face. And oh my God. And so finally I was like, what, screw this. So, I mean, just in anything, you transition from, I was doing interviews, I was doing this, I was doing questions, I was trying to educate. And then I was like, it was pre-pandemic. I was showing all kinds of crew. So I was doing the videos, and they clung to our family. The dynamic duo that we have. I mean, at the time I had Mike, who's my boyfriend, I had my brother, I had my dad, and how many people out there have 3 different such diverse drivers that, my brother does an incredible job now, but he has a 9-to-5. My dad does it for a living. Well, he's slowing down. My husband does it for a living. So, it was the transition, and I took it that way. And still to this day, people will be like, oh, you're just doing it for like the fame or the money. And yes, it totally benefits my family. Why wouldn't I do it, right? But my ideal goal is just to help racing. Like, that's why I did public relations. I wanted to support drivers. I wanted to support, the companies, the businesses, the people that make us go round.
Absolutely.
And with my videos, that was my goal. My end all be all goal is I have so many people from different states that are here this week that are like, thanks to you, like, what is it? Wisconsin. I think someone's from Wisconsin. He's like, we don't have modifieds. We don't have these cars out here. And I think he was from Pennsylvania. He's like, you're bringing that into my house.
Right.
So I enjoy that I'm not only bringing in new people, not saying me personally, I'm helping bring in new people, but also touching all different people, bringing them back, and just building, and helping our sport. That's the goal.
Yeah, and I think you should take some credit for some personal credit for bringing people in. I mean, you're very popular. You have quite the following. You have the advertising. People want to be part of the Mandee Pauch brand because you are so, in my opinion, so good at what you do. Your videos. Let's get into that for a minute. How much time do you invest on a regular night like tonight, just in video? Like when you go home or go to the trailer or to the hotel tonight.
Yeah.
How much footage do you have to go through on a regular basis?
A lot. So that also is I try to keep it behind the scenes. I don't want to show the on-track stuff. That's what DTD is for. That's what Flow is for. That's what I want the money to go to the people like that. So I don't show that stuff. So the cameras start rolling as soon as we wake up. And so however long I'm up is however long I'm videotaping. And it's extensive. It's a lot of work. This morning, my mom's like, well, if you're doing it right, you should be able to just drop it in there. And I'm like, ooh, okay, Barb. You want to learn how to do this? So another was the other night, we're staying with, we rented a house with my brother's guys and Mike's guys, and everyone's having a grand old time, drinking beer, eating pizza at like 11:30 at night. And I'm sitting at the island working my computer, and they're all like, oh, pull up this, pull up that. I'm like, yo, I don't bother you while you're working. This is now my time to work. And they're like, ooh, like, yeah, like I'm videotaping all day. And the thing with video is people want it now. People want it as soon as the checker drops. Where is it?
Right.
Why weren't you there? So as soon as They come in, I take the GoPros off the car, I start uploading the GoPro footage into my computer. We get on the drive home. I'm editing on the drive, and I totally pass out.
Okay.
I totally pass out, and then I have to re-edit the stuff I accidentally deleted because I was sleeping on the car. Oh my god, it's a mess. And then I get home. I try to get enough done, so then that way, in the morning I can just finalize it. So edit-wise, with 2 cars, it's a good 3 to 4 hours because you're like slicing it and organizing it because I have to do like the dual screen. But if it's just a regular Friday, Saturday night, maybe like 2 hours. But still, it's a lot of time that people are like, my mom, oh, it should be easy. I'm like,
Yeah.
But
And your videos are about what, between 30 and 50 minutes on average?
I try. My brother, again, the worst critic, biggest supporter. He's like, your videos are too long. I'm like, your attention span is about 5 seconds, and he's over there. So is mine. So I understand, I try to cut down as much as I can, but when you're here for a whole day,
right,
how do you cut that so short? So I try to cut back as much as I can. I mean, the video that one of the videos that went up this past week here at Alltech, it was over an hour.
Wow.
I was like, no way will people sit there for an hour. So I try to condense it as much as I can.
Yeah. But like you said, I'm sure you have so much of that footage, that behind the scenes footage that people want to see, because you're right. We do have DTD and Flow to give us the on-track action. But I think people, and hence why we're kind of doing this too, because people want to see, in our opinion, the background of what goes on behind the scenes. So yeah. I can't imagine. I tried to do video one year at Fonda, and I was like, honestly, you crossed my mind so many times because I'm like, how does she do this? It just, between the time that it takes to take the footage and then cut it and edit it and put a piece together, and if you want to put music in the background or something like that, it takes time, and I don't think people realize the investment that you're making, as you mentioned, into the sport to promote the sport.
I mean, there's so much amazing equipment I could use, but I'm a one-woman band.
Yeah.
One-woman band. So, my brother, again, bless him, he buys, for Christmas, he bought me this awesome stick that does all this flowing. It's really cool, and it makes things look awesome. And it's not going to fit in my back pocket. It's not going to fit in my back pocket. When there's a pit stop and we have a flat tire, everything just gets left here, hoping there's someone nice that's not going to steal my phone. So all I do is I just use my phone. I'm like, I whip it out, I hit record, and I mean, it's almost every 5 seconds I'm recording something. But I'd love to have the nice equipment and do that stuff. But you have to, when you're here to help support your driver's career, right? Like, I don't want to make it a huge production, but I also, it's hard to find good help. So when we have a flat tire, someone comes in, you have to be just ready to run.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes I'm like, I can't record it. Can you record this for me?
Right.
I'm going to go change the tire. Can you record this for me? I don't have that. I wish I did. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, right. An assistant.
I feel like I need to have
an umbrella holder.
Almost. Or just get one of those umbrella things, like the thingy, and have the GoPro dangling over my head.
Yeah.
That'd be really...
I tried that joystick thing, and it just, like you said, I couldn't fit it in my pocket, and I just can't be bothered. So, yeah, I get that. So let's talk about, you started dating Mike Mahaney, and then you started transitioning him into the team with your family.
Yep.
How did that go over? Was your father and your mom and your brother supportive of that? Was it rough at first? How did that go? Were they like, let's hold off until maybe he's a little bit more serious? How did that go?
That's a great question. Well, he was definitely the only driver I've ever dated that we all took seriously. I was always told, don't date a race car driver. And that was, my sister-in-law was my maid of honor. That was her speech. She's like, we all told you not to. And then she turns to Mike, you shouldn't have married a Pauch.
Yeah, right.
But, I think it was the first year we started dating. I went on the road and did some PR, and I was like, it was the way to kind of be by him, right? Like to give it a test run. Mm-hmm. But he was literally the first person that ever got me to miss my dad and my brother's races. I was like, okay, this must be pretty
Right,
be
right.
pretty serious, because I was diehard, could not miss anything, and they were pretty good about it. I mean, it probably took up until rehearsal dinner when Mike finally like could talk to my dad. Because it's very intimidating.
I mean, your dad is a legend. He's a
Yeah.
living legend. I mean, I can't imagine the pressure that Mike must have felt starting to date you. Like, oh my God, she's Billy Pauch's daughter. Like, I that had to have been pressure for him.
For maybe like first 2 years, I was kind of like, all right, let's see if this is legit. But then after a while, I was like, why don't you ever call my dad and ask him questions? He was like, oh, I can't do that. I'm like, you're dating me, use me, right? I know you're not dating me for my father, but
Right.
he's here, use him.
Right, utilize him, absolutely.
So I would say, honestly, this past year, so we've been together, it'll be 6 years in the next few months or something. And I would say probably the past 2 years, my family was finally like, okay, right? Like, we've accepted him in, but how long is it going to take him to actually ask me? Because supposedly when he asked my dad,
For the blessing.
yes, for the blessing of marriage.
Aw,
my
so
dad,
traditional.
I know,
love it.
I know, he's so good at that. My dad was like, it's about damn time.
Yeah, right.
Like, it took long enough. Like, we weren't sure if this was going to happen or not. But now it's awesome, because that's one of the many things I love about Mike is he understands how tight my family is, and he respects that. And I mean, he grew up in racing, I grew up in racing, so what guy, we get engaged, and like the week later I leave him for like a week or two because I'm going to Jersey to watch my family race. And him, I think my family just kind of accepted that, like, he's willing to, not let me go, but let me still be with my family and do, like, because that's the most important thing to me. And that was probably the biggest acceptance.